Thank you. It's so good to be back in Airdrie with a live audience as well. We're right here in the Moy Hall. Tonight's show sponsored by Homemasters, and I'm with Jimmy Chisholm. Jimmy, welcome to Airdrie.
Thank you very much. It's a joy to be here.
It's the 28th of July. Thank goodness there's shows starting to come back again. Are you dying to get back on the stage yourself?
Yep, I'm hoping to be doing panto again. That's my favourite time of year. I love doing panto. I love getting into a dress and chasing about the stage. I love it. Playing Dame in Greenock, hopefully.
And great, is that the Beacon?
Yeah, it is. What a beautiful place. I love it.
Yeah. And would that be working? I know that Isa from Still Game and Tam are usually up there. Is that in the same show?
It is. In fact, Tam and I will be the not-so-ugly sisters. We'll be the beautiful sisters this year, yeah. I think we're the ugly sisters for Cinderella. Thank you very much. Should have gone to Specsavers.
And panto's one of those things, people love it or hate it. We had one of your River City colleagues, and everybody loved Andy Gray. We had in Airdrie for a chat, and it loved panto, and of course he was a panto king, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, well Andy and I went to college together.
Really?
So I am still grieving for Andy after everything he'd been through. You know, COVID did for Andy, so that's made me take this virus very seriously indeed. But what a wonderful man, and what a gift to pantomime he was. He was just amazing.
The characters they came up with, he was one of those guys like Tommy Cooper. He could just pull a face and be funny. But then you've got other guys out there, Alan Stewart, another one who's a classic panto star. So do you prefer doing comedy to drama?
I think pantomime's my favourite of all, but it's harder than comedy or drama because it's such a different thing. You've got to do everything. You've got to be able to juggle, sing, laugh, cry. You've got to be able to do everything because I'm one of the few people that still believes pantomime is essentially for kids. You've got to get the story right, and you've got to get the characters right, because I just hate seeing children bored at a pantomime and their mum and dad laughing and kids going, what's this all about? Because it's very much for the kids. Well, any pantomime is always for the kids.
Is it hard work?
Yep.
Because it is a lot of hours, isn't it?
It's the hardest work you'll ever do as an actor. In fact, this year, because they can't get maximum audiences in, well, hopefully we can still have any audiences by Christmas. No one knows, but we're doing 3 shows on some days. I mean, every day you do 2 shows, but we're even doing 3 on some days. So we'll sleep well that night.
And how does that compare to working on a show like River City, as because it's a regular job? Do you just get brought in as you're needed? Can you do other work in between, or is it something? I once heard that people who do Coronation Street and things like that can't do anything else. I don't know if that's the same with River City.
It's the same with most long-running dramas, because they can't change the writing just for you. And if there's 2 or 3 of you, say, oh, can I have 2 weeks off then? Or if you've got something and someone's asked you a year in advance, will you be free for that month? You can say to River City, can I be free for August next year? They'll go, sure, we'll just write you out for that. You'll be on holiday for that month. You go, that's fine, as long as I'm no deed. I'm quite happy. But no, you've got to, it's a team game, and you can't. I mean, you've got a job, so it's a bit greedy to do others. I mean, we don't work all year. As you know, we do 3 months on, 3 months off, usually. It's been strange this year, but so we've got lots of time where we could fit in other things, so it wouldn't be fair of us to ruin the filming of River City in any way, just to squeeze something else in.
Now, playing a multitude of characters isn't unusual to you, because I saw when you did the play with Gavin Mitchell, was Bobby the Barman, the Casablanca play. I'll try and say it, the gin cut joint, or is it the
gin joint cut?
I did it again. I keep saying that wrong. I keep doing it backwards, and I did it about 20 times with Gavin, and I did it wrong every single time. The gin joint cut joint, right? So the Casablanca play, you play so many characters in it, including, which I thought was wonderful, the Peter Lorre character. So just tell us about how you came up with that version of the story.
Well, it's a very talented lady called Morag Fullerton, who she's actually one of the directors on River City. She used to have her own company called Borderline, but she's just one of the best comedy writers I've ever seen. And this play was about these 3 sort of not so talented actors trying to do the whole film of Casablanca, but just with the 3 of them. So you've got Bobby the barman, Gavin, plays Humphrey Bogart. He was fantastic.
It looks so much like him as well.
Oh, he did. He looked brilliant. And then there was a girl called Claire Walsh who played Ingrid Bergman, and also a little waiter, and she's the German officer in the big leather coat. And then there's me, who plays everyone else. Claude Rains, Peter Lorre. I even play Sam, the piano player, at one point, and get to sing You Must Remember This. And in one of the scenes, I'm talking to myself through a door, and then I go, wait a minute, I go out and come back on as the other guy, and then go back out and come on as the first guy, going, where did he go? And all that. So it was every trick. It was like Tommy Cooper, you know, when he's got the sailor on one side and the army on the other side. It's just, it was madness. The audience, because the audience could see it. They could see it falling apart. Me trying to do all this, they can see it falling apart. So it's funny. It's like those things on telly I used to hate. I don't know if you remember, these were guys who spun plates on sticks.
That's right.
And they'd see how many you get up, and by the time they're at the last one, the first one you think is going to fall off, and they're all screaming and everything. I used to hate that. But that's what Casablanca was like. People are willing you to do it, but they like it when you do it wrong as well.
And it's very similar, and it's when I say similar to Panto, in the sense that there was a bit of audience participation. It was, I remember you running out into the audience at one point, sure.
Yeah, well, it's a famous scene at Rick's Bar when, sorry, I'm forgetting names, but anyway, the guy stops the German singing and gets the piano player to play the Marseillaise, you know, the French national anthem, and the whole audience join in. So when we were doing Casablanca, I'd have a big sheet with all the words, and the whole audience had to join in to make the Germans quiet. We'd all sing the Marseillaise. So, it was brilliant. Yeah, there was loads of audience participation.
Now, I came in to see Gavin after that show. It was between shows, because it was during the Fringe when I came up, and I think we were doing 2 shows a day, and we came up and we saw Gavin in between the 2 shows. And that's when I saw you wearing leathers at the top of the steps.
That's right.
Jimmy comes in with head to toe in leathers. He was doing 2 shows in Edinburgh, like 3. He was doing the Casablanca show, then going and doing another show, and then coming back and doing the second Casablanca.
Yep.
So being a biker, is that? Can you guys imagine Jimmy as a biker? Don't sound so surprised.
Come tonight. If we hadn't had the weather warnings, I'd have turned up on my bike tonight. But
is that something you've done for a long time? Have you had a bike for years?
Always, since I was 12. I've always loved bikes.
Since 12?
Yeah, 12-year-old.
A motorbike?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I'm saying I'm from Inverness. We didn't really have police in those days. So.
Yeah, well, Hamish Macbeth.
Exactly. He was a mate of mine, so it didn't matter. But one day, I was a wee bit late because someone had taken ill in the audience at... we were doing The Wicker Man down at George Street.
That's right, with Greg Hempel.
That's right. And then, so I got on my motorbike, and the show was starting in 5 minutes up at George Square. So I got on my motorbike and got up. I was 5 minutes late or something. And as I was running in with my helmet and my leathers on, the stage manager went, "Oh, you're here." And the guy in the control box went, "Is that Jimmy here?" And she went, Yeah, Jimmy's here." So as I was running by, I saw the lights going down and the show started, and I was first on. So I just pulled all my clothes off and ran on in my pants because I couldn't think of anything else to do. And they threw clothes onto me, and I just got dressed as we were doing the play. And that's probably the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened.
Wow. Imagine what was going through that audience's mind. Imagine if he'd done that tonight when I said, "There's Jimmy," and he ran on with his wife.
In my pants.
Now, you got your own comedy series.
I did. I'm very proud of that. Yeah.
Did you all like that? Did you like the show? And could you, for those who haven't seen it, tell everybody what it was called, because it had a pilot. I remember seeing the pilot for it.
That's right. That was called Mountain Goats. And it was about
yes.
a mountain rescue team whose office was in a bar. So you didn't want these guys coming out to rescue you if you were in any trouble. In fact, in the pilot, we go out and it's all we need rescued in the end, because we all break our legs or break our arms and no one can get walking home. So we need rescued in the end.
It was a bit like the bar in Still Game when they went to, is it Tyna Brewer or something? They went up,
right.
It was a bit
it was
like
the same one.
Was it really?
It was.
That must have been a lot of fun for you. And is it going? Are they going to? They're never bringing it back, or?
I've no idea. I'm surprised they haven't even shown it on the BBC Scotland channel yet. But as I say, it was made by what were we? Yeah, we were BBC One. It was BBC One London made it, gave us the money for it. But so I don't know whether BBC Scotland can't show it because it belongs to London. There's all politics.
Well, that's where the fans are getting really worried about River City, because there was some stuff in the press recently about London taking over BBC Scotland or something with the programming. Is there anything? Do you know anything about that?
Well, we haven't heard anything. I read that article because everyone put it on Twitter. So I went, oh, that doesn't look good. But you never know what's happening, because the BBC, they were accused of only thinking about London, so that's why they moved everyone up to Manchester. There's a place called Salford where they've got their new big broadcasting centre there. And then there was more trouble because we wanted our own channel, and they went, oh, well, you have your own channel, you pay for your own programmes then. So we lost money, but then people would come up from London or Birmingham and they'd make programmes in Glasgow, but using Scottish money. And you go, well, wait, you can't just take the money and then use more money to make programmes for others. So I don't know what happens with the BBC or how it works, but at the moment we seem to be okay. And I think it's the fans that keep us okay. I think if they took us off the air, I think they'd have a bit of a problem on their hands.
Now, we've covered a lot of your work that you've done. What's been your favourite? Have you got anything that stands out as being your favourite role?
There's a couple of things that are my favourite, like my mum and dad, who are no longer with us, obviously, because I'm this old. I can't have a mum and dad who are alive. So, but they were so proud when I started in Take the High Road. Do you know? So I really did that for them. It just made their whole lives complete, having their boy on the telly. So I was so chuffed about that. And then round about the millennium, I went down and did 3 plays with the Royal Shakespeare Company, which was always an ambition of mine to do. And I was there for 2 years doing these 3 plays, and that meant an awful lot to me. But then there's a funny wee show I did. Sandy Nelson wrote it. He's another boy who's in Braveheart.
Oh, he's in Braveheart. I know that he plays the postman in Still Game, and I was chatting to this lot about him.
Yeah, wee Sandy. So he wrote this play called The Gospel Inquiry, and we've done it 2 or 3 times. And honestly, it's just one of the most amazing things. I won't go into why, but it's funny, it's sad, and it makes you think, I didn't know that that's how the Bible was written. Do you know, you forget that even if the Bible, even if you call it a fairy story, it doesn't matter what you think about religion. But when you think that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were 4 different guys, and they wrote their gospel hundreds of years apart. Do you know, one of them wrote about this character in history they'd heard of called Jesus. And he wrote, I can't remember which one it was. One was a tax inspector, one was something else, do you know, and it's amazing. So these 4 guys appear in this thing and explain why theirs is the right version of what happened. Even though I wasn't there, that's what happened. And it's just, and Sandy is such a clever guy. And it meant a lot to me to do that, because Sandy's not known as a writer at all. But every time we've done it, it's gone really well. You can't get a ticket for it any time it's on. And I really wish someone would just say, let's make a film of that and show it to every school, not just Scotland, in the world. It's an incredible way to look at the Bible, and it doesn't say the Bible's rubbish, but it does say it's open to interpretation.
Yes.
Let's not take it as seriously, and let's not fall out with anyone because of what church they go to and whatever, because if you look at what it is, it's like, look at the history of William Wallace. Who knows? Who knows what in Braveheart is true? It's the same for the whole, the New Testament of the Bible. It's the same thing. It's who wrote it and why did they write it? And obviously there's a man at the middle of it who performed miracles, and that's who it's about. But we don't know. Was it 50 fish or 5,000 fish? Or
Exactly. So what was that play called?
It's called The Gospel Inquiry.
So if you get a chance to see that, if you want to find out the true story of the Bible, or listen to Billy Connolly telling the crucifixion, which was recorded here in Airdrie, actually. That's the crucifixion.
Didn't know that.
The crucifixion. Did you guys know that? The crucifixion was recorded here in Airdrie. Famous Billy Connolly joke. It was recorded in the Tudor Hotel just down the road. Famously, it says it on the album.
It's the longest joke in the world.
Is it really?
Well, it must.
Well, it must be
40 minutes long. I love it.
If you haven't heard it, you've got to have a listen to it. It's brilliant. And Billy Connolly was my last booked guest before lockdown happened. He was coming over in March when everything shut down. We had Maureen Carr was the last guest we had on stage. A brilliant Maureen Carr, who of course is back on stage with the Chick Murray thing with Dave Anderson.
That's right, Dave Anderson. Who else is in it? Someone else in it as well. Oh, the accordionist, Brian O'Sullivan.
Oh, really? Right, okay. So I haven't seen the show, but I saw the TV version of it. They filmed it and they showed it. I think they did it.
That's right, they did a few
Or more.
Or and more ones. Yeah.
Dave Anderson's another. He's old school, isn't he? Along with Barbara Rafferty and all that mob. That's all your pals.
My heroes, yeah, and my pals. Dave Anderson, Barbara, Juliet Cadzo, of course, who's also in River City. Eileen McCallum, as I was saying, I think she's the best actress that ever came out of Scotland. And that's not just because she's my mum. I mean that. I think she's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. She's popped up over the years in several things, big movies as well, like you did Braveheart. Island's popped up in some big movies as well. There was another David Paisley and Jenny Hulse, who are in River City at the moment. Unfortunately, Rory it turns out is not Lenny's son. I'm not sure if he's actually left the show for good or whether he may make a return, but we're hoping to speak to David very soon here in the show.
He's a lovely boy, and his mother's huge in protecting the Scots language as well. She's
really
to him about it. Say Jimmy Chisholm says your mum's something to do with the Scots language. You go, I'm here to talk about that. But no, she's an amazing woman. Talk to him about her when he's on. And also I shared a dressing room with David the whole time he was there, so he's a dear friend.
Now, I want you to tell me, you've known a lot of actors to come out of Scotland. Is there anyone that stands out, apart from the obvious like Sean Connery or something, is there anyone that stands out as being a hero of yours in acting from Scotland?
Loads. I mean, Bobby Carlyle, I think, is amazing. Kevin McKidd. Do you know Kevin?
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic actor.
He was in, I remember him from the Trainspotting, obviously, but the Hannibal movie that he did.
That's right.
He was in one of the Silence of the Lambs follow-ups.
Yeah, he was. And he was in that Sky series. Was it Rome? Yeah, Rome it was called.
What's the hospital series he's in America? The big series?
Grey's Anatomy, that's right. And he directs some of that as well.
Really?
Yeah, well, that's the thing in America. Once you get to be a celeb, you get to direct your own episodes as well.
Is that something you would like to do?
I'd love to direct some River City, yeah. I mean, I direct quite a lot of theatre. I've directed the King's Panto and stuff like that. You know, but when you're an actor, you tend not to be known for anything else. It's hard enough to get known as an actor. They go, you just don't care about what you do. You're an actor, that'll do.
Who's your favourite director to work with on River City?
Probably Morag, because I know her well, but there's a few cracking directors. David Mackay, we've spoken about. He's just an amazing guy. You'll know him as an actor. It's him and Peter Mullen, who are in the Mel Gibson's army and with the blue faces. There's a wee guy and the big guy.
So they are together. They pop up in lots of things together. My Name is Joe together.
Oh, there's another guy, Peter Mullen, another great Scottish actor. Richard Wilson, who I don't believe it, him. And he's also one of the favourite directors I've worked with in theatre. Do you know?
Richard Wilson?
Yeah, see, again, you wouldn't know Richard.
Greenock he's from?
He is from Greenock, yeah.
It's funny how we go back round to where you're playing next.
There's only three places in Scotland, really. We're a village.
Inverness, Greenock and Airdrie.
We've got a West End, an East End, and a high bit Airdrie in the middle. That's it. But no, I love the fact that Scots, and also through history, we've done great. We've done amazing thing for a tiny place, and that's why the stories you were telling me about the singer, the postman.
Yes, Nathan Evans from Airdrie.
Nathan Evans. I mean, that just fills me with joy. I think all Scots people are so proud when Scots people do something, do you know?
Not that there's anything wrong with being a postman.
No.
It's better than walking the streets.
Exactly. Well, look at Postman Pat. It's been all right for him.
It's been all right for Postman Pat, that's right. And it didn't do Ringo Starr much. Oh, that was Thomas the Tank Engine. Didn't do him much harm. I'm getting mixed up. Do you watch Postman Pat? Just gone, nah. I'll have you know I'm 11. Now, what age are you? How old are you? 11.
Get your crystal ball out.
I was 11 when I was your age. Right, does anybody have any questions for Jimmy? They're all dead nervous about asking a question.
Oh, I'm dead nervous, don't worry.
So who's want to ask a question? Has anybody got one they can think up? No, they're too shy. What about you guys at home? You should have sent them in and we would have put them to Jimmy for you. Yeah. But just before we wind it up, is there a dream role that you would like, or is there a dream, like, is there a role already been played that you would love to have played that part?
No, I would love to play. I've always loved detective programs. I just think they're brilliant. I would love to be it, whether he's a cop or whether he's just a private detective. I love that whole thing of solving crimes, you know. And I've done it on stage, obviously, often enough. But
Sonny the Sleuth.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all right. No, I would love to be a detective and to solve murders and stuff. Because I was watching. There's a new series, Daredevil, is on. and it's about a guy who grows up and he just hates injustice, and he becomes a lawyer, but he won't represent people for money. He takes on cases where people can't afford a lawyer because he thinks they get bullied, and it's got such heart. It's things like that I like. So to be a normal guy, like what's the name of the Edinburgh one?
Rebus.
Yeah, I think he's great. Ken Stott.
Ken Stott. I preferred Ken Stott's Rebus to
Ian's. What's his name?
John
Hannah.
John Hannah, yeah. And John Hannah's a great actor, but I just preferred.
Yes, but John didn't want to play him.
Really?
John has his own production company, and he wanted to carry on producing Rebus, and they went, okay, we'll put it on if you play it.
Right.
And that's the only reason that's the only way they would let him get it
Right.
on. I mean, well, that's what John told me, and I believe him.
Yeah.
Because he loved Ken Stott's Rebus. Do you know? I mean, do you know Rebus? Have you ever seen that? No? Oh, it's fine. You won't watch
brilliant.
it. It's set in Edinburgh. You wouldn't like
It's really
it.
good. It's really good. I wonder if Ken Stott's related to Grant.
No, I don't
Both
think
from
they
Edinburgh
are.
as well?
Yeah, but I don't think they are. Oddly enough, but there can't be that many Stott in a boot, surely.
Aye, Stott about. Very good. That's Stotter. I was going to say is so Grant Stott has joined the cast. Joyce Falconer has rejoined the cast. Have you done any scenes with Joyce yet?
I have. And again, she's an old friend of mine. We did...
She's Inverness as well, not?
No,
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, but we did Panto at the Pavilion together, which is an amazing place to work. And I remember I was stood out dressed as a munchkin out in the wee back lane having a fag. And Joyce was stood as a witch with a green face with a broom having a fag. And people are coming up going, oh, can we get your autograph, beg you, and all that. She's going, bugger off, get lost. But it is in this business, it's amazing what happens to you, or where you are, and you go, I'm taking this. I get paid to do this. This is ridiculous. I wouldn't do any other job.
I've another quick question. Are you musical?
I can sing, and I've tried to learn, obviously, probably every instrument there is, but I've not got the patience. But singing, I love singing, yeah. And all my family sang, my mum and dad. I remember when they used to go and they'd sing all the old Scots duets together, like Rowan Tree. And just fabulous, yeah. I love to sing.
And who would you like to listen to? What kind of shows would you go and who would you go and see perform?
See perform
Musically?
Probably Billy Joel's one of my favourites.
Frank's favourite. Frank Gallagher's favourite is Billy
Is
Joel,
it?
and he's been to see him several times, yeah.
Oh,
And his
Billy
favourite
Joel.
song is Goodnight Saigon.
Oh, fantastic. Just fantastic. I love Piano Man, which is probably his most famous song.
Tom Ury hates with a passion.
Really?
Because he used to keep getting asked for it. He said, don't ask for Piano Man. He put it up on his Twitter before he did the gig. I'm working in such and such. Don't ask for Piano Man. Of course, somebody would got masking for it.
On purpose.
Yeah.
But my favourite band of all time are the Eagles, so that's maybe a bit corny, but I love them, and I think they've written some of the best known songs in the world.
Easy listening, and I saw the Eagles live at Hamden on my birthday.
I
when they
wanted
came.
to go to that gig, but I couldn't afford it.
Oh, really?
What an amount of money that was.
We got 2 tickets on eBay on the day of the gig. So we got them for like cheaper than normal because it was on the day of the gig. We just thought, do you want to go and see the Eagles today? And it was like, yes. And what a party we had. It's because every song's a cracker, isn't it?
Well, it is. Everyone knows every song that the Eagles, except Postman Pat's biggest fan.
Who's your favourite singer? You don't have a favourite pop star? Kids don't listen to music these days and they don't watch telly. Who?
Roblox. That's how they play.
Roblox.
Aye.
Oh, so you just play games?
Roblox.
What about you? Do you like music? A wee bit. Do you like Nathan Evans that sings Weller Man? He's cool, isn't he?
Of
He was right round the corner for us. He was there.
Does he? Oh, that's fun. And again, that's great that he comes
So he was your neighbour, aye?
Well, he stays near us.
Well, hopefully he'll be one of our next guests because Nathan's going to be taking over as ambassador for the Airdrie Community Trust as well, which is fantastic, through Airdrie Stadium, which is probably where we'll be for the next show. But this is a lovely venue, and we were talking about the building outside, and it's got a lot of history, this place. Yeah. And you mentioned that yourself, so thanks to Jim for letting us use the Moy Hall here in Airdrie. And we do hope to be back here again for some more shows. And thank you to our lovely studio audience who came along tonight.
Both of you?
Yeah, both of you. I'm so glad that you decided to stay. Well, one of them left, but we've still got one.
Aye, but we didn't like her anyway. We got the good one stayed. So.
It sounds like there's a lot of people here, but it's just one person moving from seat to seat every 2 seconds.
Yeah, and it's an echo.
But to everybody watching at home as well, thank you so much for tuning in. You can watch this anytime. You got a ticket, so you can watch this anytime you like. You can put it on repeat. and watch it again and again and again until River City comes back on, because the fans are hyperventilating without the show.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm hyperventilating, not doing it. And it's been so weird. I mean, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, a couple of the girls were going, it's so weird we haven't been able to hug each other in over a year. We're not allowed to, we do our own makeup. We're not even allowed makeup artists near us.
So you must be pretty good at that, though, being coming from a stage background. You can do your makeup as opposed to others who maybe aren't used to doing their own makeup.
I don't think it's as hard on boys as it is on girls, because they've got to do lots, you know, so...
Apart from Stephen Purden, who wears loads of mascara and lipstick.
Exactly.
That's not when he's on duty, though.
No, that's when he's at home.
He's in the house. So you're having a lot of fun on River City. You've had a vast career, and long may it continue. We've had a lot of fun watching you on the box over the years.
Thank you so much.
And so all I can say now is thank you to Jimmy Chisholm, everybody, for joining us here in Airdrie. Jimmy, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you for tuning in.